Hello, everybody. This is Fernando for the latest Godzilla podcast. Well, not much really Godzilla news related to this video, but still, this is very, very exciting. A brief history, though, that I wanted to give for all my YouTube fans out there. Those of you that are the long time fans, very much appreciated, by the way. You know that one of the first things I started was my Godzilla movie news, and the whole reason for it was because I was a huge fan of Cloverfield and the whole way that there was this viral marketing and so much internet buzz with regards to all the mysteries surrounding that film. And key in point was one guy, I wish I knew his name, but he started a YouTube series of sorts where he talked about all the clues and all the puzzles that were unraveling or were looking to be unraveled during the upcoming release at that time of Cloverfield. And it was him and the way he created his videos and the way he talked about them that eventually encouraged me to do the Godzilla series, which in turn led to my Cryptids and Monsters and then everything else. So, all those years thereafter, I said, and I've quoted many times, I said, that there's no chance involving any kind of Cloverfield sequel because in today's Hollywood world, if there's going to be any sequel related to any movie, at most there's a life of around 3, maybe 4 years after the original was released. Anytime after that, and is considered a relic of sorts. But Cloverfield seems to be the sole exception because there seems to be still a dedicated fan base to it. And I'm a huge fan of the film. I love the film. I didn't see it originally in theaters. I saw it actually when it came out on DVD, and I was a huge fan, especially again of all the marketing blitz. So, with all that being said, it looks like I was completely wrong when it comes to the previous suggestions that there was never going to be anything else Cloverfield related because lo and behold, today there has been a release of a brand new trailer for a film that looks to be 100% within the Cloverfield world, and it's called 10 Cloverfield Lane. And then on top of that, there is a new poster that is associated with the film. Now you can find this on my Facebook page, and I'm sure if you look anywhere on the internet today, it's buzzing hugely. No doubt it's going to be lasting for a good while when it comes to the way it's going to trend. But it looks like out of the blue, yet again, this guy, J.J. Abrams, has made this movie completely under wraps. Him and his crew, in other words, have made it completely under wraps and then dropped the bombshell with regards to today's trailer release. So let's just briefly talk about what the trailer involves. Again, it's going to be not much because in typical Abrams fashion, it has to do with keeping the mystery surrounded in a box of questions with the locks full of riddles. It's making sure that there's only enough information to keep you tantalized, but at the same time not give anything away. Like you have to struggle to even see and link things together. The trailer itself is pretty short. All it consists of is at the very beginning, and it's like a classic bait and switch. It seems like it's just a family of some sort, and that's even then if they're family, most likely they're not, of course, that they're going to be inside what looks to be a homemade bunker of sorts, and there they are just trying to live their lives. There's nondescript passage of times, it looks like, where they're playing puzzles, they're listening to music. I believe some of them are watching TV as well. And then there's one brief scene that all of a sudden, and I remember when I was watching the trailer today, I was thinking, you know what, could it be? And then it was the scene where they're looking up towards the top of the bunker, in other words, towards the ceiling, as there's something massive, something very large, moving across the ground above them, and it's shaking the entire bunker. And it immediately again made me think, could it actually be in terms of a giant monster movie. And then as the rest of the trailer plays out, you'll see that there's some growing tension with regards to the young girl, in this case in the film, because it seems like she's almost being held there against her will. And when that happens, then the trailer escalates where she's trying to make sure that she can escape, and then Goodman's character, who's I'm really excited to see involved in this Cloverfield world, now is trying to make sure that she's prevented. And then of course the trailer ends at the biggest shock of all. She sees whatever is out there, and then it ends with him stating that because she, I guess, opened enough of the actual bunker itself, it kind of released their presence to whatever is out there. In this case, presumably the giant monsters or monster, and now they're going to come after them. So, pretty fascinating stuff, really great stuff. There's already been a passage or a quote that's been given by Abrams with regards to this film. Everyone is saying that that it's a blood relative. Here's what he said. He said the idea came up a long time ago during production. We wanted to make it a blood relative of Cloverfield. The idea was developed over time. We wanted to hold back the title for as long as possible. By the way, that title that he's referring to is, of course, the title of the film, 10 Cloverfield Lane. And if you see the trailer, you'll see that the film very much so highlights the name Cloverfield to make sure that you as a viewer know 100% that you're aware that it is within the same Cloverfield world. Now, whether it has to do with a direct sequel or whether it has to do with something that was happening during the actual original Cloverfield attacks, or maybe even something before, we don't know yet, because the film is going to be out in a couple of months, which is going to be a big, huge surprise. It's nice. After all these years, I think it's now, what, 8 years or so, we finally have, in this case, something Cloverfield related just coming within a few months now. So this is a big, big, warm welcome. I'm so happy to see this news, and I'm happy to share it with everyone here. If there's any more news that's related to it, I'm probably going to talk about it. But in typical, again, Abrams fashion, I don't think there's going to be any more items released but for the viral stuff. And even then, the viral stuff, if it follows the original Cloverfield viral material, it had to do nothing with the film itself. It was just way out there stuff. Still very much fun stuff to guess here and there, but it literally had nothing to do in most cases with the film itself. So any viral material that's going to come out between now and I believe it's March when the film is released, you can better believe it's probably not going to have to do anything with the film itself, despite it saying that it is. Like, in other words, the viral material is not going to directly be within the film, but it's still going to be really, really fun to talk about. By the way, there's already a whole bunch of stuff. Go to IMDb, look up the film itself there, and you'll find that there's a lot of stuff that people are already deciphering, from the poster itself, on the the background of the poster, to the clouds within the poster, to also there's websites that people are deciphering and uncovering. There's one even that someone took the time to take the trailer and piece it back, I guess, in chronological order, because they believe that the trailer, the sequences shown are out of whack. It's not chronological. Instead, it showcases what they believe is the beginning of the movie and then towards the end, and it makes sense with regards to what was shown within the trailer. So all this fascinating stuff, it's great, great. Absolutely love the fact that, again, we have a Cloverfield sequel, or sequel of sorts, that we can talk about. By the way, here's my opinion as to what this film is about. I don't think it was actually, based on what I've read today, I don't think it's actually a Cloverfield sequel at the beginning, like it was made as a completely different film. I mean, people have already uncovered that this film was being produced since like 2012, and that there was some kind of, there's a website involving spec scripts, those kind of scripts that have to do with synopsis of stuff being sold for movies, and it has to do with the same pretty much what we saw in the trailer, but it seemed like somewhere between then, because it was its own film, somewhere between then and then after Abrams bought the film, he decided to add the Cloverfield universe within it. That's what it seems like, because unless that was his plan all along to secretly make it as a Cloverfield film, I think it almost landed by accident. I think he probably saw that there was an opportunity there to have this film stand as is, and then he probably was thinking to himself, what if I added this? And then all of a sudden it worked. The idea that what the film was originally about, if it could be involved in the Cloverfield universe, then bam, it would work as well. So that, I think, is my interpretation of what happened. And then I love the fact too, one last thing, with 10 Cloverfield Lane, it reminded me when I was watching the trailer, there's that book that has to do with the Resistance video game series. It's called Resistance something. I can't remember what the title was, but there's a pretty prominent scene in there, pretty short, but to me it stood out, where the main character, Hale, is inside some kind of cave or some kind of older bunker of some sort, and he's just reminiscing about what's happening with the world, in terms of video game world. And as he's doing so, everything starts shaking within the cave, and that's when he realizes that one of those giant Goliaths, those things that are like 300 feet tall, is moving about on top of the bunker that he's in. And so it shows the impact, as he's thinking and realizing, how gigantic those things are. That's what I was reminded of when I was watching this trailer, and there they are stuck in the bunker. It's so fascinating, that world. Imagine that. Imagine you're in a bunker and you're in that Cloverfield world where there's those giant monsters running about. That would be so, it's such surreal. Like, you're trying to live a normal life within that bunker, watching TVs, eating, working on puzzles, and then above you there's gigantic 300-foot monsters just about pretty much colonizing the world. Quite fascinating stuff. So it'd be great to hear your comments, everyone. Cloverfield sequel is coming out. How great is that? I'm gonna see if I can talk about any more stuff later on. It just depends again on how much info people can find that's relevant that this Abrams guy is going to release. So, all right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.